We're back. So we were still talking about piecewise functions, and in the last video I gave you the graph and we came up with the equation. This time I'm giving you the equation and we're going to try and come up with the graph. And we have three areas in our domain that we're looking at. So we're looking at 1/2, our function is 1/2 of x squared if x is less than or equal to 2. We have the absolute value of x if x is between -2 and 2, non-inclusive. And we have 3, f of x is 3, or y is equal to 3, if x is greater than or equal to 2. So we can go ahead and do any part that we like first. It's up to us. I'm going to change this. Those two purples are too close for me. So I'm going to change this one to green. Then we'll really be able to tell the difference. And if you want, you can certainly highlight your areas of the domain if that's helpful for you before you get started, so you know what thing you're supposed to be graphing. We can always color code if that makes things easier. So now, okay, if I'm going to start with what's happening in the middle, because that seems easier to me. So it's the absolute value of x if it's between there. So, I know what my absolute value looks like, right? It looks like a V. But I have to be cautious. I have to make sure I'm only graphing in the domain that I want to be graphing in. So if it's between 2 and -2, non-inclusive, that means I'm going to put open circles right there. And I'm going to graph that. Okay, great. There's my absolute value for that domain, for the turquoise domain. The next thing I'm going to do, I'll do the 1/2 x squared. Okay, when x is less than or equal to -2. So at -2, I'm going to have a point. -2 squared is 4. Half of 4 is 2. Oh, look, I have that point right there. Cool. Just color it in. And then if I go to 3, -3 squared is 4.5, or 9. Half of 9 is 4.5. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4.5 there. And if I want to, I could go back 4. 4 squared is 16. Half of that is 8. So 5, 6, 7. Oh my goodness, it's over there. How silly. So I've got a parabolic curve. I've got a little curve there for that part of the domain. Hopefully your line goes through your point. Not a line, your graph. Okay, and now we're going to do the green one. We're going to do, it's 3. So that means it's just 3. It's a horizontal line. So I go over to 2 and I go up 3. And I have my y equals 3, or f of x equals 3 graph. There. Hey, there it is. Now that I've graphed it, I'm going to think about what my list of values might be. And now if you're wondering, where are these numbers coming from that she puts on the thing? It's just my head. I'm just coming up with numbers. So let's say somebody asked you to find f of 5. You would look at the domain. And you would say, well, where is 5? 5 is greater than or equal to 2. So I'm going to look at the green part. F of 5 is 3. F of 5 is 3. And if somebody said, oh, well, what is f of 0? So then f of 0, I just made up finding 0. 0 is between -2 and 2, so I'm going to do the absolute value of 0. The absolute value of 0 is 0. And if somebody asked you, what is -100? You would go here. -100 squared is going to be positive 10,000. Half of that is 5,000. That's a big number. But anyhow, that's how piecewise functions work. Let's come back together as a class and go over some examples.